Have you ever noticed how the thrill of a new phone, it just fades? But the feeling you get from a great friendship, that seems to stick around. We throw the words pleasure and happiness around like they're the same thing, but it turns out your brain sees them as completely different. And I mean completely different.
Really think about it. That first bite of a perfect pizza, or that little ding from a notification on your phone. It's a rush, right? It feels great, but it's gone in an instant. Then you have these other good feelings, that deep sense of just being content with your life. That stuff lasts. So what's the deal? Why are some good feelings a flash in the pan, while others have real staying power?
Well, it turns out we're not the first people to ask this question. Not by a long shot. This is a quest that goes back for centuries. I'm talking all the way back to the ancient Greeks. They were obsessed with figuring out what it truly means to live a good life. And they basically came up with two big ideas. On one hand, you had hedonism, which is all about chasing pleasure, feeling good, and enjoying the moment. But on the other hand, you had eudaimonia, which is something deeper. It's about finding fulfillment, meaning, and living a life of purpose. So pleasure versus meaning, it's a debate that's thousands of years old, and believe it or not, it's a battle that's happening inside your brain right now. Okay, so let's dig into that. We'll start with the first one, pleasure. What is actually going on inside our heads when we feel that rush? So what's fascinating is that, according to neuroscience, pleasure isn't actually the main event. It's more like a notification. Think about it like this. When you're hungry, your body is out of whack, there's an imbalance. And when you eat, that feeling of pleasure is just your brain's way of saying, hey, good job, you fixed the problem. It's a brilliant little trick to motivate us to survive. So pleasure is the motivator, not the actual destination. Okay, so if pleasure is just a quick signal, then what about that other feeling? The deeper, more stable one. Well, that's where we get into what we call happiness, although scientists actually prefer a different term for it.
And here it is, subjective well-being. This is the big one. See, researchers make a really important distinction between feeling happy, that short burst of joy, and being happy. Being happy is something else entirely. It's a long-term state. It's when you can step back and say, you know what, on the whole, my life is good. It's not a momentary high, it's a deep, overall satisfaction. So this table just lays it all out perfectly. Look at the difference. Pleasure. It's short-term, it comes from stuff outside of you, like food, and it's driven by a chemical called dopamine. Happiness, on the other hand, is long-term. It's an inside job, how you feel about your life, and it's driven by a totally different chemical, serotonin. One's a visceral hit, the other is a cognitive state. And those two chemicals, dopamine and serotonin, that's where the real story is. All right, now for the really cool part. Let's actually go inside the brain, because it turns out these two very different feelings are run by two completely separate systems. It's amazing. It really all boils down to these two chemical messengers. Meet our main players, dopamine and serotonin. Think of dopamine as the go chemical, the one that always wants more. And serotonin, that's the contentment chemical. They both shape how we feel, but boy, do they go about it in different ways. And this image just shows it so clearly. Just look at the yellow pathway there. That's dopamine. See how it's a really specific, focused loop? That's your reward circuit. Now check out the red network. That's serotonin. It's everywhere. It's spread out all over the brain, connecting to all sorts of high-level thinking areas. So you've got this super focused pleasure highway versus this massive brain-wide network for well-being. I love this analogy. Think of dopamine as a sprinter. It's all about that short, powerful burst. It's what screams, go, get that reward, now. The problem is, if you overstimulate it, which, let's face it, our world of instant everything is designed to do, it can lead straight to addiction. Serotonin, though, it's the marathon runner. It's not about the burst, it's about the long, steady feeling of contentment. And get this is the really cool part. One of serotonin's main jobs is to put the brakes on that impulsive dopamine system, to tell it, whoa, slow down, we're good. Okay, so this is all super interesting, right? We know the difference, we know the brain chemistry, but so what? What do we actually do with this information? How do we take this science and use it to, actually be happier? And this quote from the World Health Organization really hits the nail on the head. They say mental health isn't just about getting rid of the bad stuff, like anxiety. It's about proactively improving the good stuff. It's about building up that subjective well-being we've been talking about. And the good news is, science has given us a playbook for how to do this.
These are all strategies from the field of positive psychology, and they're backed by research. And look how simple they are. Counting your blessings, actually taking a moment to thank someone, doing things you're good at, and connecting with people. The science shows that doing these things consistently can genuinely boost your well-being. And it's pretty clear they're doing it by feeding that steady, long-term serotonin system. So, when you boil it all down, what's the main takeaway? It's this: pleasure is a signal, a very important signal, for sure, but it's temporary. Happiness, true well-being, that's a practice. It's a skill you can build, like a muscle. So the real question for all of us is, which one are you going to focus on building today?